Hi, and welcome to TELS 3363, Lecture 11. And yes, this is our last video for the class. Hooray! So this week we're going to cover mostly all the end of the semester things that you have to get done before the class is over. And the first of those items is you do need to complete Discussion 4, which is another ethics-themed discussion. And this time, rather than a reading assignment, you have a viewing assignment. And that viewing assignment is to watch the PBS video, Is Walmart Good for America? This is a video that was made back in 2004, but it still raises a lot of relevant issues about Walmart and their approach to business. And so you will first need to watch this video, which is linked in the discussion for instructions, before you can complete your post, because you will be expected to refer to the film in your discussion post. And the discussion assignments, explain what you will be talking about, but in essence, you're going to be trying to answer this question in the discussion: is Walmart good for America? And you're welcome to say, yes, it is, or no, it isn't, or it is in some ways, but not in others. It's complicated issues, so it doesn't really matter what position you take, but whatever position you take, you are going to need to back it up with references to events or discussions in the film. So you might want to take notes as you watch the film. And your final post that you make to our class should be 500 to 600 words in length, organized, paragraphed, spell checked, edited, all that good stuff. So if you have questions about this particular assignment, be sure to post to the questions forum early in the week, and I'll be happy to answer those questions. Now, revisions and extra credit, I know, are on a lot of people's mind, and revisions and extra credit are not due yet. The drop boxes and instructions are available now, but they will be due on December the 3rd. So you actually have a couple weeks to work on this, which is probably a good thing. Revisions and extra credit work are optional. Nobody is required to revise or do any extra credit work. You can mix and match. You could decide to do the extra credit assignment, but you don't care to revise. You could decide to revise one eligible assignment or two eligible assignments and not do the extra credit. You could do nothing. So it's a total mix and match. The maximum number of revisions is 2 eligible assignments. And of course, there is just one extra credit assignment. These things will be submitted via the revisions and extra credit drop boxes that you can locate on the assignment page. And that's where you can also locate the instructions for the revisions and extra credit assignment. And these items may not be submitted late. It is so late in the semester when I receive them that they have to be in on time. There's no 10% per day thing. No, they're due on December 3rd, and that's that. Revisions are a little complicated, but the simple part is you may revise up to 2 eligible assignments, which means you can revise none, you can revise 1, or you can revise 2. However, if you missed an assignment and you never completed it, it is not eligible. And also, things that you turned in late are not eligible for revision. So you can't just revise something to get rid of a big late penalty, in other words. Additionally, some assignments are not eligible for revision just because that's the rules. This list indicates all the assignments that are eligible for revision, assuming you turned it in on time in the first place. So basically any of the graded discussions 1, 2, 3, or 4, you haven't done discussion 4 yet, I realize, but if you did it and you didn't do it well, you would be eligible to revise it if you wished. And then pretty much most of the 25-point assignments, except Project 1, which was about the course policies, you may not revise, and Project 3, which were the concision exercises, may not be revised, because when I handed that back to you, I kind of gave you the answers. So you can't do that one. It is important to recognize, though, that Projects 4 and 5, although you submitted them together at the time, are separate assignments. So you could revise one of them. Let's say your resume was great, but your cover letter not so much. Just revise project 5, or vice versa. However, if you submit both 4 and 5, those are your 2 assignments, and you can't do anything else. So make sure you are choosing 2 assignments that you are eligible to revise. And if you're not sure, if you don't remember whether a particular assignment is eligible, feel free to email me in D2L, and I will be happy to let you know if it's eligible or not. So here's how you do it. You begin with whatever it was that I originally graded. So especially if this is a project assignment, it's going to have my comments in it. And so you need to start with that. I need to be able to see my comments that I made on your original assignment. After that, you go ahead and paste in your revised draft. So maybe you might write your revised draft in a different document, but once you've done it, go ahead and put it in the same document that you have your original version in. I'll need to be able to compare the old and the new. And then there's one third thing you need to do. On another page after your revised draft, just add a very short paragraph, basically saying what you did and why. And when I say short, I mean short. It could be a sentence or 2, and that's it. It doesn't have to be a big deal, but you do need to comment a little bit on your decisions in terms of the revision. What I'm looking for is that you've got my original draft there, that I see that you've made big improvements over your first draft when you revised it. Now, obviously, that's a sliding scale. Some people have farther to go than others, but I'm looking to see definite and obvious improvements. I'm looking for that little short paragraph telling me what you changed and why, and I want all of that into one package. Now you can revise, as you know, 2 documents, or up to 2, and you can have them separate, or you can put it all in one ginormous package, and that's fine. Either of those things are fine. But I at least need everything that's relevant to one assignment together in a single file. And let's say you revise project 4 and project 8, and if you want to have those as 2 separate items, that is perfectly fine. But within project 4's revision, I should find the original draft, the revised draft, and the short paragraph. And then in the other one, I should see its original draft, its revised draft, and its short paragraph. So that's what I'm looking for there. Now when I'm grading it, whatever you get on the new assignment will replace your original grade. So let's say when you did project 7, you had a hard time with that one and you only got a 17, but you've revised it and you did a really great job, and now you've got a 24.5. So now I will change your grade in the grade book, and it'll say 24.5 on project 7. The 17 will go away. So I'm not going to give you a separate grade on the revision. I'm going to change your grade on whatever assignment you revised. Now, if you only make tiny changes, your grade might not change. So you really need to look and make sure you're making all the changes you need to make. If I commented somewhere about your proofreading not being so good, proofread really hard. Don't just look for the things that I may have marked. Look for everything you can find. Really look for some way to sort of make this an extreme makeover so that you've really made it much better. Now you do have to include the very brief paragraph at the end talking about what you decided to revise and why. And if you forget to do that part, then there'll be a 5-point penalty, which for some people will kind of wipe out the whole reason for doing the revision. So make sure you don't forget that little sentence or 2 where you explain what you revised and why. To get any credit on a revision, you absolutely must include your original graded draft. Okay? I have to be able to see what you did the first time, and I have to be able to see what I told you the first time. If you just send me the revision, but not the original thing, I will not give you any grade for it because I have to be able to compare. If you only upload it with the revision, as I said here, and no original version, I will not grade it. Your original grade will stand. So you won't like suddenly get a less grade, but you will not get any improved grade. If you submit an assignment that they're not eligible to revise, such as something that you never turned in to begin with, or something that was late, or either project 1 or project 3, I will not grade those. I won't even look at them. And if you really got an A already, you already have a 23 on your assignment or something, I really wouldn't recommend revising it. It's not going to be worth those 2 extra points in the class. There's going to be better ways you can spend your time at the end of the semester. Now, I don't forbid you from revising it. I just don't think it's a great idea in that case. And again, if you are not sure whether an assignment is eligible for revision, please ask me. I recognize it can be hard for you to remember if a certain thing was late or not. I kind of keep track of that in my offline grade book, and I'll be happy to let you know, or just to make a recommendation if you want to know, is it worth revising this, or if you're trying to decide which assignment you should revise, I'm happy to offer you my suggestions on that subject. Now, extra credit works a little bit differently. The extra credit assignment will replace the grade of any 25-point assignment. So it's not on top of all the points you've already earned. It replaces something where maybe you never turned it in, so you had a 0, or maybe you just kind of missed the boat, or you had a ginormous late penalty, or whatever it is. It'll replace that grade completely. So it can replace late work, and you won't get a late penalty. It can replace an assignment you missed, and now you'll have a grade instead of a 0. So it's a pretty good deal, and a lot of people may not wish to revise, but the extra credit is something that you may want to do. Now here's what it is. You'll be writing a 400 to 600 word discussion on a corporate ethics topic of your choice. So I'm not giving you an assignment for this discussion, other than it needs to involve corporate ethics. It also needs to be something that you can discuss from your personal experience and that refers to at least one outside source, which can't be Wikipedia, but it could be a source from a magazine, a journal, a website, anything that talks about this particular issue. So you definitely need to have both an element of personal experience and an outside source. So not just one or the other, you need both. You'll need to include a citation for your source that is in a formal citation style, such as APA format or MLA format. I don't really care, but don't just paste in a link. It needs to be a proper citation with author and title and date and all that good stuff. And because this extra credit assignment will replace some other assignment in the class, it's important that you specify to me what assignment you want to use the credit for. Don't assume that I'll just guess. You might have multiple options, and so you should let me know. Now, occasionally I'll see a student will say they want to replace something, and I'll look at their situation. I'm like, why do you want to replace something that you earned 15 points on when you could replace something you have a 0 on? And in that case, I'll probably make an executive decision, but also contact you and say, hey, this is what you did, and this is what I did, and are you sure you really want to do it the way you said? Because I think you'll get more points the way I see it. So I will occasionally do that. But again, if you want to ask me what assignment I think you should replace with extra credit, you're welcome to ask me. I've got no problem answering that question. So here's what will make your extra credit work successful. It needs to discuss a corporate ethics topic. So this is not just, free-ranging. It needs to relate to corporate ethics. It needs to involve some element of your personal experience. Now, sometimes people refer to experiences that friends or family have, that they have some measure of awareness of. I'll count that, but I do need to see that you're connecting this to something that has happened in your life or some close friend or family member's life to the extent that you know a lot about it. Maybe you have a parent who worked for Enron, so you know something about that situation, but you can't just, fail to leave personal experience, and put it in your assignment at all. I'm looking for at least one outside source, so you need to find something that talks about this same issue, whatever it is. So maybe you might want to think about something that's happened in your life and experience, and then look up an outside source that also talks about that. That might be a good way to handle this situation here. Your total discussion needs to be 400 to 600 words in length, so about the same as most of our other discussions. Your discussion needs to be organized into paragraphs. It needs to have enough detail that I can tell what you're talking about, maybe giving examples of things or explaining things. It needs to be well written, edited, proofread, all that good stuff. You need a formal citation for your source, in some formal citation format. So here's how the application of the revision and extra credit grades will work. When I grade your revision or your extra credit, I'll make a few very modest comments, but then I'll upload whatever it is I've graded to the revision or extra credit Dropbox, whichever is applicable here. In the revision and extra credit Dropbox, your grade will show as a 0 because this isn't something that's added on top of everything else. So it'll show as 0. In fact, when you see the 0, it means I have graded it. I will actually change the grade in the gradebook on the assignment that the grade needs to apply to. So if this is a revision, I'll change that grade on the original assignment. Let's say you've revised Project 8, I will change the grade on Project 8. Or if you do extra credit and you say, I would like this extra credit to replace Project 3, then I will change the grade on Project 3 at that point. So you'll get your returned work back to the revision extra credit drop boxes, but the grade change will be applied to the original assignment. So if you're concerned, like, why do I have a 0? Well, email me if you have a question, but remember, the grade will change in the other assignment. And if there's some problem, like you tried to revise an assignment that wasn't eligible, I'll tell you in my comment to the revision, for example. So this is another illustration of the things I already said to you. Just remember, look to the place you wanted the grade to be changed to find the grade change.